So UFC 249 so far has one fight announced, and that fight is Khabib versus Ferguson. It's an amazing fight. It could probably sell a card by itself, but I feel like we should really utilize this chance of the Russian spotlight of Khabib to invest in some other Russian UFC stars, and I think we should have a stacked card underneath this one. It's going to be in Las Vegas, I believe. Khabib and Ferguson are going to bring a ton of exposure. I feel like we should utilize this chance to show off some of our Russian talents, including fights between these people. The co-main event of this card should be Henry Cejudo versus Petr Yan. I've already said that I want to see Petr Yan get the next title shot against Henry Cejudo. Now I want to see Henry Cejudo versus Petr Yan at bantamweight in the co-main event of Khabib versus Ferguson. It makes sense, guys. Ferguson, Henry Cejudo, both Latino. Khabib, Petr Yan, both Russian. Market them off each other. Also on the card, I definitely need to see Kevin Lee versus Islam Makhachev. Kevin Lee seems to think that's where things are going to be going, which I enjoy. I feel like this is the great jump up that Makhachev's maybe needed for a very long time. People need to take Makhachev seriously if he wins, you know? Because he's beat a bunch of guys, but it doesn't really tell us how amazing he's going to do against the top of the division. If you beat a guy like Kevin Lee, now we're taking things more seriously, okay? So this is the perfect jump for Islam Makhachev. It's the perfect fight for Kevin Lee as well, because the top of the division's kind of blocked up in who's getting the next title shot. Dan Hooker and Paul Felder are already fighting each other. Anthony Pettis is already fighting Diego Ferreira. There's a lot of stuff going on at the top. Kevin Lee versus Islam Makhachev also would make a ton of sense to me on the main card of UFC 248 or 249. Amazing fight can happen on the card as well. You've got Islam Makhachev, Khabib's cousin, share some of that fan base over. You've got Kevin Lee, he's known for his fight with Tony Ferguson. Now you've got relevance to the card. Another lightweight. I love having guys from the same division on the same card as the championship fights, because it brings some level of relevance and you can build a storyline behind it. Kevin Lee, Makhachev, Khabib, Ferguson, Henry Cejudo, Petr Yan, and I'm not done there. Alistair Overeem says he wants to get straight back in there. He didn't take too much damage against Rozenstruik. He kind of just got dropped. And one moment in the fight. Okay, he's been KO'd stiff before. I'm sure he's seeing this as a light day out at the office. You know what I'm saying? He only got dropped. His lip is already looking healed. He's got till April until this card. What date is it? April 18th. Like, there's a very long time for this card to come around. And I think a perfect fight would be this. One we were promised in Russia not too long ago. And again, I'm bringing up the Russian fan base because you got to utilize it while they're there. They're only watching Khabib fight. That's the only people that the Russians are watching other than maybe Zabit and Islam Makhachev on their own. But not as much. You're bringing all of Russia to see Khabib. Okay, wherever he goes. Put a bunch of Russians on the card with him and let them share some of his fan base. Petr Yan is one of them who already has some fans. Could really do with the Khabib level exposure if he wins the belt. Yan Cejudo, Makhachev Lee, see where I'm going? Volkov versus Overeem. The fight that was promised to us at UFC St. Petersburg not too long ago before Volkov fell out and Olenek filled in and Overeem beat him. That's some storyline you could build there. It was supposed to happen before. Now we're getting it later on in the year on a massive card. Volkov, Overeem, and now we need one more fight on the card. And I honestly don't mind who this person is. Should I leave it up to the comments? No, I think we should do some little thought exercises here. Who else should be on the card? I want to say Leon Edwards versus Tyron Woodley, but I feel like that should happen a little bit sooner because we need the rest of the division to move on a little bit, you know? I don't know who else I want on the card, but there's a couple other guys. Am I thinking of any Russians around? Let me have a quick scan for some Russian-looking names in the UFC rankings right now. Makhachev, I know we've got Zabit on the sidelines as well, looking for a fight. I don't feel like he should be fighting on this card because, to be honest with you, I feel like Zabit needs his own main card for the best of exposure against Yair Rodriguez. Rodriguez and Zabit, main event of a fight card. Sign me up. I need to see Zabit go 5 rounds. So that's the only reason I'm not including him on this card. So other than that, maybe just put on a little promo fight. I can't see any fucking Russians around anywhere. Serkinov sounds like a Russian name. Maybe we can just do that. Or something like that. I don't know what we're going to do. I can't see any Russians anywhere. Other than Alexei Olenek, who already has a fight. So fuck the Russians. Maybe we'll just put a decent fight on the card. Like a Kelvin Gastelum versus Derek Brunson. Or a Derek Brunson versus Uriah Hall. See where I'm going here. Something fun just to fill in the gap on the main card. And I'll take anything, I'll be honest with you guys. I'll take anything. Maybe an Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira, you know? One of these kind of fights. Sounds good to me. Sounds real good to me. I can't think of any other Russians that are in the rankings. I always feel like if your pay-per-view main card is not filled with only ranked fighters, you're doing something wrong, UFC. Okay, and I might just go off on this tangent right now. That's what main card should be. It shouldn't be who's the bigger name here. The main card of your pay-per-view should be stacked with top 15 guys facing off against top 15 guys. I don't give a fuck, okay? Every single pay-per-view should have that standard no matter what. I almost feel like every fight night should have that, but that wouldn't be possible, okay? I understand the fight nights can maybe go a little lackluster, but the pay-per-view main card should be the biggest names that are ranked, okay? So I need to see a good ranked fight go on. Maybe Ally Quinta versus Edson Barboza would make a level of sense. Maybe that can slide right in there. Both guys coming off a loss would be a fun time. Or Anthony Pettis says if he beats Diego Ferreira, he wants to turn right. I've got it. I've done it. I've done it. I've actually done it. Anthony Pettis wants to turn right back around after Diego Ferreira and fight Dan Hardy. I don't know if you guys have seen these talks. Paul Felder let it slip once by saying that Duke Roufus has called him and told him that he's interested in fighting Dan Hardy. Paul Felder and Dan Hardy are very close on the commentary team. Maybe Pettis versus Dan Hardy on the main card. Why not? Sounds good to me. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Let me know if you want me to do any other kind of card builder shit because it's quite fun. And in terms of prelims, I don't give a fuck. That's where the young talent can be. Pick the most marketable ones, put them to headline the prelims, and the rest of it should just be people on win streaks, the early prelims, people that are clinging on for dear life, and young up-and-comers making their debut. That's the structure of a card. Goodbye. See you later. Yeah, click that one, please. I need you.